Ozempic and other drugs like it are wildly overused, but as a weight loss coach, I still recommend it in one specific scenario. So in this video, I'm going to give you my rule for when it is actually worth it and the exact protocol you have to follow so that you don't end up worse off than when you started. Because here's the thing, most people using these weight loss drugs are setting themselves up for failure. They are losing muscle, wrecking their metabolism, and gaining all the weight back the second that they stop using them. But before we get into it, you need to know where I'm coming from. I have personally worked with over 1,200 clients in my career who have lost a combined total of over 10,000 pounds. My philosophy is, and always will be, medication last. I believe these drugs are powerful tools, but they are not the ultimate solution. The ultimate solution is, and always will be, lifestyle modification. So my goal here today is not to promote a shortcut, it's to give you an honest, evidence-based framework so that you can make an informed decision. And to be clear, this is not medical advice, and I am not a medical doctor. These opinions are my own, and for informational purposes only. Always do your own research. So what do these drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro actually do? Well, it's not magic, it's just biology. These drugs mimic a hormone in your gut, commonly referred to as GLP-1. When you eat, this hormone is released, and it does three main things. First, it tells your brain that you are full. It dramatically reduces hunger signals and cravings. Second, it slows down gastric emptying. That means food stays in your stomach longer, which keeps you feeling physically full for hours. And third, it improves glycemic control by stimulating insulin release, which is why it was originally developed as a diabetes medication. The result is a powerful appetite suppressant. People who could never get into a calorie deficit suddenly find it effortless. A study in the New England Journal of Medicine on semaglutide, the active ingredient in Ozempic and Wegovy, showed participants losing an average of 15% of their body weight. That is not a small number. So yes, it works, but the way most people are using it is a recipe for disaster. And this is where we get to the core of the problem. These drugs are being marketed and used as a quick fix for just about anyone, even if they only want to lose 15 to 20 pounds, and that is a massive mistake. Using a GLP-1 before you've fixed your lifestyle is like putting a Formula One engine in a car with no wheels. It's a powerful tool with nowhere to go. If you haven't already dialed in your protein intake, your resistance training, your sleep, and your stress management, you are not a candidate for this drug, period. And I say that because the drug doesn't solve the underlying behavioral problems that lead to obesity. And one of the biggest risks of these drugs is muscle loss. Studies show that up to 40% of the weight lost on these drugs can be lean muscle mass. So if you're not actively resistance training and eating enough protein, you're not just losing fat, you're losing the very heart of your metabolism, which is muscle mass. This in turn makes you skinny fat and dramatically increases your risk of gaining all the weight back as pure fat when you stop the medication. And you will stop. These drugs are expensive, and most people can't or simply don't want to stay on them forever, nor should they. And the research on this is brutal. One study found that after stopping semaglutide, participants regained 2/3 of the lost weight within a year. You're effectively just renting the weight loss, not owning it because you never built the habits required to sustain it. So when is it actually worth it? When does the benefit outweigh the risk? In my business, I have a very strict rule with clients. I would only consider recommending a conversation with a doctor about a GLP-1 if a client meets all of the following criteria. First, the medical necessity. Their BMI needs to be at least a 40, which is class 3 obesity, and they have to have at least one serious comorbidity like type 2 diabetes, sleep apnea, or non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This is not a drug to be used for vanity weight loss. Second, they need to have multiple documented good faith attempts at a structured lifestyle intervention. This means they have actually tracked their food. They have worked with a professional. They have genuinely tried to build the habits, and it hasn't been enough to move the needle on their health and their weight. Third, they need to be under the care of a qualified physician who can prescribe the medication and monitor their lab work regularly. Fourth, and this is a non-negotiable, they are ready and willing to commit to a serious resistance training program 2 to 4 times per week alongside the medication, because we have to protect their muscle mass at all costs to keep their metabolism high when they come off of it. And fifth, they need to agree to adhere to a high protein diet, hitting a minimum protein floor every single day, even if their appetite is gone or suppressed. Again, this contributes to preserving muscle mass and saving their metabolism long-term for the day that comes when they work off the medication. So if someone meets all 5 of these criteria, then yes, the risk of staying morbidly obese is greater than the risk of the medication. In that specific context, a GLP-1 can serve as a bridge. It can be a tool that provides initial momentum and health improvements necessary to make the lifestyle changes stick. But again, you can't skip the lifestyle modification alongside of it. But if you don't meet all of these criteria, then the answer in my opinion is no. The risks outweigh the benefits, and you need to focus on the fundamentals first, because if you don't build those habits, you will someday end up back at square one, or even worse than when you started. Hey, real quick, if you're a business owner who wants to lose the stubborn weight and reclaim the health, energy, and confidence that you have lost without weight loss injections, without restrictive diets, and without becoming dependent on medications to stay healthy, click the link in the description below to check out one-on-one coaching with myself and my team. Across my career, I have helped over 1,200 clients lose a combined total of over 10,000 pounds. And if at the end of our time working together, you don't absolutely love your results or you didn't love the service that you were provided, you can ask for a 100% refund. So again, if this sounds interesting, check out the link in the description below, fill out an application, and see if we're fit to work together. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of the video. Now, even if you do meet the criteria, you do have to go into this with your eyes wide open about the potential risks. The most common side effects are gastrointestinal, so nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation. A large systematic review found these affect a significant number of users, and for some people, they're actually debilitating. There's also an increased risk of more serious issues like pancreatitis and gallbladder problems. And as I mentioned, the risk of significant muscle loss is very real if you're not lifting weights and eating high protein alongside the drug. Then we have the practical side. These drugs can cost over $1,000 a month without insurance, and access can be a major issue. So you have to be prepared for the financial and logistical commitment that comes with them. Overall, this is not a decision to be taken lightly. So for the vast majority of people, what is the answer? It's not taking the drugs at all. It's using a medication last protocol, and it's the same foundation I've used with every successful client, and it works. It's not sexy, but it's the truth, and here's what it entails. First, you need to restrict your calorie consumption. Use an online calculator to find your approximate total daily energy expenditure, and then subtract 500 to 1,000 calories from that number to set as your daily calorie ceiling. Track everything you eat using a food scale and a tracking app like MyFitnessPal. Second, protein intake. You need to be eating 0.8 to 1.0 grams of protein per pound of your goal body weight. This is the anchor for satiety and muscle preservation. Third, steps. Get 8,000 to 10,000 steps every single day. This should be your baseline for daily activity. Fourth, resistance training. You need to be resistance training 2 to 4 times per week, focusing on compound movements. Use weights, bands, your body weight, whatever is easiest for you to be consistent with. Fifth is sleep. 7+ hours of quality sleep per night. This is non-negotiable for hormone regulation and proper recovery. And sixth, last but not least, stress hygiene. You have to have a plan to manage your stress, whether it's prayer, meditation, journaling, or whatever else works for you. This is the foundation that has to be in place, whether you're going to do the medication or not. So if you can't do this, the Ozempic won't save you anyways. Now, if you do meet the criteria and you and your doctor decide that this is the right path for you, you have to execute it correctly. Your doctor should be getting you baseline labs. They need to know your starting point for all of your major health markers. Then your doctor should be following a progressive dosing schedule, starting with a low dose and slowly working up to manage the potential side effects. While doing this, you should be prioritizing your electrolytes. The GI side effects can lead to dehydration, so you need to be on top of your sodium, potassium, and magnesium. And of course, just to reiterate, you need to be doing everything in your power to maintain muscle mass. So the resistance training and the high protein diet have to coincide, even if you do decide to do this drug. And lastly, this one should be somewhat assumed, but you need to be having regular check-ins with that physician who is prescribing you the medication to manage your dosage and side effects. Now for the part that almost nobody talks about. You need to have an exit strategy. You will not be able to stay on these drugs forever, and you shouldn't. When you and your doctor decide it's time to come off, you cannot just stop it cold turkey. So if you do decide that it is the right path for you, along with a medical professional's opinion, you have to go into it knowing that the day will come where it's time to progress out of it. So how do you do that effectively? Well, first, you need to taper your dose down slowly over several months to allow the body's natural hunger signals to come back gradually. as you taper, you need to implement a reverse diet. This means slowly and systematically increasing your calories back up to a sustainable maintenance level. This will help your metabolism adapt and prevents a massive energy surplus that leads to rapid fat gain. And if you did this properly, your training volume should be 2 to 4 times per week. Well, you need to maintain that. It's a non-negotiable. You have to keep sending that signal to your body to hold on to muscle mass. So that doesn't change as you come off the drug. And lastly, you have to keep those habit systems dialed in. Your new lifestyle that you integrated while you started the drug needs to stay on autopilot. And if that requires some sort of accountability in the form of community or a coach to do so, I highly recommend that. So let's recap. The only time I would recommend even considering a drug like Ozempic is if you are in a high-risk medical category. You have already failed multiple good faith attempts at lifestyle change, and you are 100% committed to pairing the medication with a regimented resistance training and high-protein nutrition protocol under the guidance of a doctor. For everyone else, the answer is to do the work. Build a foundation. A medication-last protocol is the best path. And again, if you take anything away from this video, it's that you should have that protocol in place with or without the drug. So start to change the lifestyle anyway. And if you decide to add in some sort of GLP-1, it's only going to improve or expedite your results. And you'll have already laid the lifestyle foundation to sustain the results long-term without regain. Now, if you're a business owner and you want a medication-free weight loss protocol that gets you lean without starvation, use the link in the description below to apply to work with me for private one-on-one online fitness coaching. I will build a plan that works for your life, and if you aren't satisfied with the results, I will refund you in full. Now, if you found this video helpful, hit the subscribe button. I put out a new video almost every week breaking down exactly how to get into the best shape of your life and sustain it long-term. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.